Good evening, Galleon. This is Mayor Tom O'Leary here tonight with a little bit of a change in format. Tonight, I would like to just spend a few minutes in an unscripted a thank you, and I think community congratulations to Police Chief Brian Saterfield, who will be retiring at the end of this week. Uh, Going back to the, if you will, dark days of 2004, I think people who were community members then will remember financially we were in a bit of chaos, and the police department had just had a resignation and an opening for chief. And into that arrangement, into that melee, Brian Satterfield agreed to come from Marion to Galleon, and has been the police chief for 17 years, almost 18 years. So again, his tenure will end on the end of this week, the first week in May. And so when you think back a ways, and we have a picture here in the office, maybe we can get that imposed on the replay of this. But young Brian Satterfield being congratulated on his hiring by then city manager Phil Hunzy. So again, those people who remember 2004 fondly or not so fondly might get a kick out of that picture. The other thing that was real interesting then, I think, as we move forward a little bit, in 2005, just months after he had been selected as police chief, Mr. Hunzy resigned, and lo and behold, Brian Satterfield was acting city manager. At the same time, he was really beginning to just get his department kind of under his control, put his stamp on it, if you will. So for a period of time that probably from Brian's point of view seemed like forever, he was juggling both those jobs. And I think the fact that we're here today and out of fiscal emergency says he must have done a pretty good job. In fact, that's really when I first met Brian. I was still at High Department of Transportation, and to take you back a ways, we were working on access in and out of the schools and the turn lane that ended up. And Brian was there, again, actually wearing both hats, that of the traffic control guy in the police department, and also trying to speak for council in terms of what the city could do to improve that intersection at the time. Now, it's funny also, to me at least, that out of that grew the effort to widen Portland Way, a project that wouldn't have happened without another former leader in the community, Lamar Wise, who as a CEO at the hospital at that time, proposed the engineering money to actually get that ball rolling. So, all of that going on here in Galleon in 2004 and 2005. And Brian served in that capacity until a new city manager was hired, and I don't exactly remember when, but I remember who, and it was Dave Oles. And so then the chief continued to provide leadership under those two city managers until the mayoral form came into place. You think about the esteem for the longtime Galleonites. You think about the esteem that the Galleon Police Department has been, how the public has felt about them, the esteem that the public has invested in them. And, anything like that. Police goes up and down. In this day and age, it's pretty remarkable where there is so much criticism of law enforcement and the police that my strong impression is that the Galleon Police Department are appreciated and held in high esteem by the majority of, I would say by all of the law-abiding public, and gosh, even some of the not-so-law-abiding public. So I think that's quite a commentary, and that really starts at the top and sort of radiates through the department. And while it's you never have a perfect police department, I certainly am glad that it's in the shape that it is as Brian hands it off to his successor. you really look for areas of improvement that are fine tuning, and I don't see any great need for overhaul. And all of that really is a reflection of the way Brian has provided leadership. Over the years he's been here, I think retirements are, for some people, you wonder what's this person going to do after they retire. With Chief Saterfield, I think he has developed enough interest outside of law enforcement that I don't have, any of those kind of concerns. Most people don't know, unless you know him personally, that he's quite an accomplished volleyball official. And so when we've talked a couple times about what he's going to do once he finishes up in law enforcement, I know he plans to do a lot of volleyball officiating. He told me the other day he's done professional bowling, but I do expect him to continue the golfing and the bowling. That I think, in a lot of respects, people who know Brian Saterfield probably know him from those kinds of activities rather than Chief Saterfield. So I wish him well. I have very few doubts that he'll find plenty of constructive things to do once he retires. I want to add just one more thing. For people who are watching this, consider doing me a favor, or doing yourself or the community a favor. As you see Brian Saterfield out in public over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, whenever the next time you see him, go ahead and take that extra step and thank him. Congratulate him, if that's the right word, but thank him for giving 17 years of outstanding public service to Galion, and the safety that we enjoy here in this community is really attributes largely to his leadership and his current and past department. But do us all a favor and tell the chief he's really done a great job, and wish him well in the future. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight for tonight. No Q&A. Have a great week, first week in May. And like I said, the City of Galion has appreciated Brian Saterfield's service. You see him out in public, give him a thumbs up, a handshake, and it'll be appropriate, and I guess greatly appreciated. So, all right, with that, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week, and congratulations, Chief.